Hello, listener. Stir the Pot is a podcast about murder, crime, cryptids, and all things spooky. Naturally, there may be some content in these episodes that is uncomfortable to listen to. If you still think that this is the podcast for you, we'd love to have you join us. But if not, this is your official warning to turn back now.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey.
You always do this, such fun little, your little arms up, the cutest little gestures, and I'm,
especially because we're not doing it as, a video recording.
I know. And, every time, I'm like, oh, that's so fun.
But then nobody can see it.
Yeah.
So, sorry, guys.
Compilation of Shaggy saying, oh, yeah. That's so fun.
Just, get this podcast famous, and then we'll be able to show our faces. If we could work full time, do this wait, let me get my words together. Do this as a full-time job, our full-time job. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll show my face. That's my contention.
Like and subscribe, share with your friends, get us to, I don't know, what's the number? 100K by Friday.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. That could be a little contest, Yeah. 100K by Friday. But
this is look at
I found it. See,
you guys just missed the coolest thing to ever happen.
We fist pounded with excitement arms.
This is a special edition.
Yes. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
I'm Velma.
I'm Shaggy.
Welcome. You looked blank for a second.
It keeps going over my head what name I'm using.
I know.
I need to write it on my hand or something.
Yeah, you'll get used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
This is a little bonus that we're doing because we're coming back, as a little, we're still gonna be going every other week so far, but we're doing 2 weeks in a row just because
bonus edition.
And it's St. Patrick's Day,
Yeah. Gotta celebrate all the little holidays.
Yeah, and it's a green leaf. We like green leaves here, Usually ours are 5, not 4 or 3, but whatever.
How fun would it have been to smoke shamrocks, though, instead, and see what happens?
All things are tripping and you, see leprechauns running around, and you're just like, fuck.
Maybe that's how you get gold, is smoking some shamrocks and see some leprechauns.
Yeah.
Either that, or you get really lucky for, an hour.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a soup. Kind of like falafels.
Yeah.
Jesus, Felix Felicis. Harry Potter reference?
Oh.
Yeah, that's a little good luck thing.
Yeah.
And just... that was a thing that he did. It was
a
fucking weird part of... That was the weird part of Harry Potter. Okay, so... do we want to talk about anything before we go? I mean, do we have any news to share or anything?
I don't know. It's just a lot of the world is burning.
Oh, it's burning down.
Yeah.
Burning the fuck down.
Not really anything fun.
No. I kind of have a hashtag for Luigi. Fun Luigi thing.
Your Luigi update.
My Luigi update for the week. I'm not going too much into this one this week, but apparently this mom of this girl that was sick wrote a letter to Luigi in jail. In prison. And he wrote back. And I was finding all these articles of it saying, oh, it's gone viral, da-da-da-da-da. Couldn't find the actual letter. Finally found the letter. So I'm going to read it because I almost want to cry. Dear Karen, your letter is the first to make me tear up. I am so, so sorry for what you and your daughter are senselessly going through. The pictures you sent via mail are photocopied and are blurry because they're in black and white, but if you use da-da-da-da-da and send it that way, then you can send a picture of your daughter and the mosaic that she painted.
Aww.
And I will hang it on my prison cell wall next to your letter. Your daughter is blessed to have a mother who loves her so much and fights for her so relentlessly. Best wishes, Luigi Mangione.
That's so sweet. Imagine him, though, going through his mail and being like, horny woman, aww.
Well, apparently that was the other thing that I saw too, is apparently Gypsy Rose made a statement about Luigi, and she said, just make sure you watch out for the weird fandoms. And I'm like, fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Oh, I do remember one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Oh, shit. Where was it? It was there. JonBenet! There was another JonBenet update.
Oh.
Yes. Weird indirect update, but there were actually only 2 people pulled in for questioning for JonBenet Ramsey's murder. Mm-hmm. One was the guy that admitted to doing it, but really didn't.
Right.
And then there was this other guy. I can't remember his name. I think it was Gary something. But there's been some information that's come out from the person that he was dating at the time, the partner, that like the night and everything that the JonBenet case occurred. Mm-hmm. We haven't done that one on the episode, so like,
yeah.
And now I don't want to. Now I want to wait until like all the information comes out.
Yeah.
Like, but he like left and then came back and like immediately took a shower and was acting really erratically. Having never met the Ramseys, he like knew a lot of their information, like knew their schedules, knew what they did, having never met them. But I don't know why he was never talked about.
See, okay, that whole story is so weird to me. Mm-hmm. And, like, the way that like, any case ever gets handled and, like, the information that comes out later is always so wild to me.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's so crazy to think about, like, that happened how many years ago. Mm-hmm. And then this guy is like, well, maybe that was a little weird. Yeah. Or, like, well, you know what I mean?
Me and JonBenet would have been the same age.
Okay.
So she would have been 35.
Yeah.
And she died when she was, or 35, 36. She died when she was 6. So, like, 30 years ago. Yeah. And the other thing, too, perfect example of when this worked is when the Delphi murders, the 2 girls, when they kept their information close to their chest and then were able to, like, play a full house. Like, they kept them close, they did the right thing, and then were able to, like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. However, I'll say, like, 90% of the time, the information that you're keeping close is not the information that you should be keeping close.
Right.
And the information you're letting everybody have is the ones that you should be keeping close.
It's always the opposite.
Right.
And then there's always some little detail that they're like, hey, we never looked into this. Should we have?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you should probably look into all of it in the first place, just to be fair. Or like, I can't remember what I was watching recently, but it was like a drama or whatever. And like this lady came in and she was homeless and they like disregarded her witness statement or whatever. And then it ended up being useful later. And it was like, I understand that cops are their own thing and have their own whatever. But like, somebody always sees something to some capacity. So, wild.
Right.
I'm wild.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. Because I feel like the world is so on fire right now with, like, in every direction. So the fact that, like, on top of the world being on fire, we're losing money, we're having to spend more, things are going up.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they've got information about cases.
Right.
And to me, it's one of those, look over here.
Yeah, for sure. Always a little distraction.
And I do think that's important to note, too. Because sometimes I think they'll make shit up.
Right. Just so that you're looking somewhere else instead of at whatever else is happening. Yeah.
Another, I promise I'll get to the episode here shortly. I promise. Another one is one of the, I don't want to call this podcast out by name, because I am a big fan of them and I'm about to talk a little shit. One of the podcasts that I really, really like did this episode, and apparently very recently there has been like 300 new files released to the public about JFK. Okay, and information about that and whatever. So I went to go listen to the podcast. They're interviewing this guy that's a historian, and the gentleman said something along the lines of, with everything that's out there about the JFK information, the bad journalism, the wrong information, the conspiracy theories, but we don't care about those because we're historians. As soon as those words came out of his mouth, I turned it off.
Yeah.
Because, granted, a conspiracy theory is a conspiracy theory. How many of these have come to light that are true? I think we were just talking about this MK Ultra. Like,
even if it's a conspiracy theory, like, it's also a part of history. The way that people, like...
yeah. And that was, like, one of the first biggest things, I feel like, that people started to really have big conspiracies about.
Yeah.
You know, at least in America.
Right, yeah.
So I think that's...
Yeah, just, like, totally disregarding, like, oral history.
Yeah.
Like,
Which,
cool.
Whatever. As soon as you get...
You don't have to buy into it,
Yeah.
but to at least acknowledge it.
While being... And it's funny that you say that. And this just made me think, oral history, while you're a historian, being interviewed on an Audible podcast. Like...
Yeah.
Just wild. As soon as...
Yeah.
And you know what? 90% of the time I like their episodes. That's why I don't want to bring up who it was.
But it's so funny to go on a true crime podcast and just say that. Like...
Yeah, like, bruh. Bro.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to Earth.
Yeah.
So, before we get any further, I'm going to go ahead and do the reefer report. That was my drum roll. The reefer report. So I'm smoking Purple Monarch. Oh, Jesus Christ. Purple Monarch from Tony's Growery. It, I believe, is an indica because it's very purple. She's kind of an independent grower, so we're going to see how this goes. And I'm smoking it from a Grape Swisher, which those are my favorite. Everyone knows that. But we'll see us at the end for the reefer review.
And for a fun Shamrock Shake review, too.
We had we're doing the Shamrock McFlurries, technically, the Oreos.
Right. Getting real on theme.
Yeah, so we'll do that at the end, too. Yeah, that'll be perfect.
Yeah.
That was smart. I like that. Did you just think of that?
Yeah.
That was good. That was quick. I'm impressed. I wouldn't have thought that fast. No. Damn.
That's really funny to me.
That I thought that was quick.
She's just like so impressed.
I am. So, what's our question?
Would you rather?
Okay.
Okay, I've narrowed it down to one. For
okay.
fun.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they're like the
Anytime.
same. Okay. Well. Okay.
Okay.
Back to
I'm
the
ready.
podcast.
Okay, I'm ready.
Would you rather be plagued by unexplained memory lapses only to discover that you've been the subject of numerous alien abductions, or uncover a hidden extraterrestrial presence on Earth where its infiltration into human society has already reached terrifying proportions? I picked one with the longest, most
and a lot of
worst
consonants.
words.
Yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
I will fuck that up. I'm glad you read that. So, okay.
Have memory loss and realize that you've been abducted by aliens, and that's why. Or find out that there's aliens and they're already just going to take shit over.
At this point, I kind of hope she happens, actually. So,
Yeah.
the memory loss thing makes me a little nervous. For some reason, that creeps me out a little bit.
It does. It's I feel like I already have enough memory loss on my own.
Yeah. And you're not even as much of a smoker.
Yeah. I don't need to, no one else, no one touch me.
No outside influence.
Yeah. Okay, and then the other extra would you rather is, would you rather, I just think this one's funny. Like, I know the right option because, like, it's just
sometimes they're clear.
Yeah, it's really clear,
Yeah.
but, like, what a silly sentence.
Okay.
Be haunted by a ghost with amnesia, where its restless pestering and attempts to recall its past life drive you insane. Or be haunted by a horde of spectral cats whose ghostly paws just like knocking everything off your tables and shelves.
B.
Cats already do that.
Yeah.
So...
If I had ghost cats doing that...
Ghost cats?
As long as I could see them, absolutely B.
Extra fun.
Extra fun.
But, like, the first one of a ghost just with amnesia, like... Why would you pick that?
I don't know.
Why would you pick that?
I feel like cats knocking shit over would drive you just as crazy.
That's just on par for them.
But that's the same thing. As long as I could see them,
right?
Then I'm happy because
Yeah.
I just want to say,
Yeah.
I might even do a step up as long as I can cuddle them.
Ooh.
If I could cuddle them,
fuck yeah.
hell yeah. That's
yeah.
all ghost kitties. Let's
Yeah.
come.
Instead of a little ghost with amnesia just wandering around, like, and then one time, I don't listen.
I thought, okay.
I like my quiet space.
For some reason, my brain wasn't working as fast as you were talking.
Uh-huh.
And you said, I combined something that you said in my brain. And you're like, just imagine walking around with a cat ghost with amnesia. And I was like, no, that sounds fucked up. That's just mean.
That poor cat.
The cat won't know it's dead. Like, the cat doesn't know if it's what's going on. The cat's just...
Oh. Do animals get, like, dementia and stuff?
I don't know. I would think
They have
so.
to.
Yeah.
But that's so sad.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that. Now I'm
No, I
really
don't
sad.
think about it. I don't think about it.
Podcast. St.
Podcast.
Patrick.
Hashtag Free Luigi.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're reset.
Reset.
Revived.
So today we're talking about St. Patrick's Day. Okay, hold on. Okay, never mind. I got it together. I sometimes look at the microphone instead of looking at you because I don't know why.
Well, the microphone's the camera that you're just like...
Right.
Right,
yeah. Exactly. I'm an idiot is what it is. So today we're talking about St. Patrick's Day, and I was kind of going for the lore and like the fun folklore origins of St. Patrick's Day. And though I found a lot of fun little facts, it's pretty boring. I really hate to say this. I'm not meaning any offense to any Irish people out there. But actually, from what I've read, a lot of Irish, people from Ireland kind of agree.
Okay.
So, not the day. Because what the day now has come to symbolize is, a pride for surviving famine and surviving things.
Yeah.
And
all for that.
Yeah, all for that. But the origins, they're just not, they're meh.
I don't know very much about St. Patrick, so
yeah,
this will be fun.
That's where we're going to start. So part 1, who was St. Patrick? Literally, part 1, who was St. Patrick?
I love your notes.
Thank you.
They're so organized and nice.
Thank you. I literally kind of write it out almost as a script of how I'm going to, bullet points.
Yeah.
But in the order, and then I'll make a little star here because this one says I gotta go to this page and then read this and come back. So sometimes that happens, but I try to keep up with it. Anyways, who is St. Patrick? St. Patrick was the patron saint of Ireland, and he was the primary patron saint. There's gonna be a lot of Catholic words I'm gonna throw out here. Do you know what a patron saint is?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. Just so for the people in the back that don't, that is a doctor with a specialty, an eye doctor, whatever. The patron is he is the head. He looks over all of Ireland. Mm-hmm. He actually was not Irish. That's kind of the first fun fact that we're going to start here. He actually was a 5th century Romano-British Christian missionary and ended up becoming a bishop of Ireland. Kind of from a sad story, and that's where I'm going to start.
I feel like I don't know what any of those words mean.
Cool. So, Romano-British is Romania, from the Roman Empire.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're good. My brain just didn't work for a minute.
No, it's okay. Those were a lot of words, and we're talking 300 to 400 BC.
Okay.
Or BCE.
Real back there.
Yeah, so this is a long time ago. A bishop is, I was trying to use kind of relatable ones. Granted, people are going to fight me on this, whatever. Bishop, I would say, is a mayor. They're not the Pope, they're not up there, they're not president, but they're they can dictate, they can say, oh, well, this is whatever. Either way. But he's also known, there's apostles, which are followers of, he's known as the Apostle of Ireland. That's another name that he's known by.
Okay. He's got a lot of nicknames.
Yeah.
Cute little guy.
Yeah, and fun little fact, if you were to spell St. Patty's, to shorten it, it's supposed to, they're very adamant on this. It's Paddys.
Yeah.
Not TT. I always did TT.
Yeah.
But on here, when I was looking it up, they were, referring to different ways.
I have heard that before.
And when I saw it literally said in parentheses right afterwards in all caps, which is wrong. And I was like, oh, damn. Okay. Shit. I'm okay. Another fun fact, even though he is a saint and a lot of Catholic sectors recognize him as a saint, he was actually never canonized, which means he was never I actually put on here, he was knighted. like whatever.
Yeah.
Usually that's done after they die, but he was never made into sainthood.
Gotcha.
And it was mainly just because he lived before those laws kind of came into place.
Okay, so it's not that he wouldn't have been. It's
Right.
just that he wasn't at that time because it wasn't a thing.
Right.
Okay.
But nobody has since. So they still could because
Okay.
they do it after they die, but nobody really has.
Gotcha. So
So-
there's like,
Yeah.
he's got the title.
Yeah.
Why do we need to be official?
Exactly. So they're just like, meh, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's recognized not only in the Catholic religion, Catholic, Lutheran, Church of Ireland, and Eastern Orthodox. These are just like little facts.
Mhm.
Some of these are kind of boring. I know. He is also credited, which I'm going to talk a little bit about this later, for bringing Christianity and converting pagans to Christianity into Ireland. Which Christianity was there before he was there, but it wasn't just as popular. But I'm going to go a little bit more into that later.
Okay.
The only real proof that he exists, which some people don't even believe that he actually did, is this Confessio that he wrote, which I printed out a copy for you just in case you wanted to read it. I kind of glanced through it, and
It's pretty thick.
it's pretty thick, for one, and I'm not talking smack, but it reads very Bible-y, which is kind of a little bit hard for me to focus on all the time.
Yeah. It's not something that you can just like quickly get through.
Right.
You gotta use your brain.
It's kind of like
there.
Shakespearean, you know, like you almost had to translate it a little bit.
Right.
Which I didn't want to say that because that made me sound stupid, but like, you know what I mean.
No, it takes more brain power than just like a simple romance book.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
example, for there is no other God, nor ever was before, nor shall be
They
hereafter.
use so many nors.
I know. I'm trying to. I was trying real hard to think of like a joke to go with that, and I couldn't. I was doing so hard. I don't know if you saw my brain just like I'm going. I got nothing for Nor. I will like at some point through the episode. I'll make a Nor joke.
Yeah.
Norse? No. Okay. Let me move on. So that's the Confessio, which I think, especially with hashtag Free Luigi, which I promise I'm not going to talk about every episode, but yes, I am. The Manifesto, I just thought it was funny that this is the Confessio. What's the difference? Okay. Anyways.
To also clarify on this, though, it says it was written in Latin. So that's the other reason it's got to be translated a lot and, like, use your brain on. So it's not just, like...
Right.
Yeah.
And it was on Catholic.org, by the way.
Yeah.
So, I wrote that at the top. That was my writing. So...
Citing the sources.
I did.
Love it.
I try my best. But per the Confessio, when he was 16, he was captured by pirates. Actually, hold that thought. We're going to take a step back. His father was a deacon. His parents were pretty well off.
Okay.
However, they don't really talk that he was religious growing up. So they believe that his dad was like a deacon just for like the money and the benefits. Fair. Whatever. They made money? Sure. Do you know what a deacon is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For those who don't, just in case.
Yeah.
It's like a step below priest. Usually a priest that can get married. That's usually how it was explained to me. His family did have money. When he was about 16 years old, he was captured by pirates from his family home and was brought to Ireland as a slave. So he was in Britain, brought to Ireland. He was there for about 6 years as an animal herder.
Did anybody notice that he was just gone?
Yeah.
Or like was it a big deal that they were? I mean, I know like it's really really back in the day. So like, what are they gonna do about it? Kind of.
Exactly.
But
It's not
to
like
just
he's got a
be
phone or a
yeah.
tracker.
But to be like taken by pirates is just like a wild plot.
I know, right? Well, in like 300 BC,
Yeah.
he was taken by pirates. And you want to know what? That was on like every source too, and it's in here.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's all they said. When I tried to look for more of it, it's just like, oh, he was captured by pirates.
Yeah, it's just like, was that just like a
like Davy Jones, Jack Sparrow? Why is the rum gone? Oh, whiskey. Oh, I like that better. A Guinness? Sure, I'm Irish. You can't see my Jack Sparrow motions. But
like, was that just like random Tuesdays for that?
I guess
like,
so. Yeah.
People going missing from pirates, or like, did they break into his house? Like, how? I know they didn't have like alarm systems, but like,
knock knock.
Yeah.
Coming up to the window.
Yeah.
I'm a pirate. Arg. You're coming with. How would you do okay? Whoa. How would you do a pirate Irish accent?
I have no... My brain cannot make those two match.
Right now, my brain's stuck on pirate. Okay, so Irish is like... Okay, no, I can't.
I just thought Australian. That's the wrong
I know,
direction.
I went, ahoy, matey, and I was like, no, matey's not. Okay, I'm
thinking of, like, the little, like, guy from the Leprechaun movies, like, just in a pirate hat, like...
With an eye patch.
Yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
I haven't seen those movies in so long.
Well,
they're so fun, though.
Yeah. They are. I loved those movies
Yeah.
growing up. They were so funny. Or do you remember Luck of the Irish? It was a Disney Channel movie. That's like I think
so cute.
It was so cute, and that guy that was in it was so cute.
Yeah.
That's where I learned about banshees, and that's like one of my favorite things. I don't think I've talked about them really much on here, but I love a good banshee story. And just the name Banshee, it just sounds creepy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, back to... So he got abducted by pirates.
Abducted by pirates, not aliens.
Yeah.
So no memory loss.
Unless it really was, and he just didn't know how
They were alien
were.
pirates.
Irish alien pirates.
Arg, I'm here to probe you. Oh, Bonnie Lass.
Like, okay, and this probe.
But he's all green. Like Hook, but green. That's why it's green. The alien in the Irish. No.
That was him when he got abducted. And his parents were just like, ah.
And his parents were... But the pirates were... During his time in captivity...
Well, that's really not fun.
No.
Yeah, no
During
jokes.
his time- yeah, no jokes. During his time in captivity, he worked a lot with animals as a herder, but he spent a lot of time alone.
Okay.
Supposedly, per the story, per his confession...
I'm just really hung up on this right now. Like, I'm so sorry. But, like, this guy is just in a new place.
herding cows.
Herding cows after getting abducted by pirates. And, like, nobody in this town has any questions about where he came from. They're just like, oh, yeah, he's got the cows. Like,
Moo.
no questions.
No questions.
I cannot wrap
They're
my
not
head
worried
around
about
that
it.
right now.
He's too isolated. They're not fucking worried about it. They're like,
the pirates were just like, we need a guy.
I found a guy. You need a guy? I got a guy.
Like, maybe I just don't understand pirates right now, but I didn't think that they were, like, the staffing people.
You need a guy? I got a guy. Give me 5 days. 5 days? 5 days.
5 days there by boat, 5 days back.
Because it's not like you could just hop on a plane.
Right. Yeah.
And boats were slower than they didn't have, have propellers. So they were slower. Anyways.
Okay. I'm concerned for him, and
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else is.
No, nobody gives a shit about Patrick. At this point, he's not even St. Patrick.
Yeah.
Like, he's just Patrick.
It's just
And
Pat.
He's, Pat's not doing so great.
Yeah.
Pat, so, this is probably why he, God came to him. And he saw God in a dream and told him that it was time to leave Ireland. That's how he worded that, like, hey, you should escape, is, hey, it's time to leave Ireland. Bro, I've been here for 6 years. Now you tell me? Now you give me the approval. Cool.
Was anybody, like, watching him? Because he says he's in captivity, but then he's also isolated.
I know.
So, like, were there people with him? I know.
There's somebody that's swallowed by a whale.
I know.
However, there was somebody actually that was just swallowed by a whale.
There
like,
was,
recently
see?
that survived.
So
like, insert foot in mouth. He was also like 16. If he was like miles and miles away from like civilization,
yeah,
in the 300s, maybe like I can see stay put so that way like I don't get.
That's fair.
I also
it's like he's by himself alone and doesn't have anywhere else to go really, so might as well just stay instead of like being afraid of dying or whatever.
Right.
Leave.
Or I can also see his parents selling him. That was the
that
thing.
makes more sense in my head
Yeah.
than him just randomly getting abducted.
Right. Like, granted, that's not what it said.
Right.
So I don't want to make up stories. But,
Right.
like, that makes more sense.
That makes more sense.
So,
Okay.
He was he was captured, whatever. As soon as he got back to Britain, so he went home to his family, and his family was like, oh, hey, welcome home. Good to see you. Hey. You're back. He actually went into religious studies for 15 years and became a cleric.
That's a lot of years.
A lot of years for religious studies, but, like,
Yeah.
it's more intense than doctors, apparently. But that's what it is.
I mean, back in that day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no need for doctors.
Right.
That was your doctor.
Yeah.
So he was back to Britain. He went 15 years. He goes back to Ireland after the 15 years as on a mission because he knows the Irish culture. He knows the Irish language, Gaelic. His goal was to spread Christianity throughout Ireland.
Okay.
There was already Christianity in Ireland before that, but
Yeah, but he was like, everybody's got to hear about this.
yeah, you got to hear about God.
Yeah.
Jesus. But he did work as a bishop, but there's also nothing, like, bishops didn't make a whole lot of money in Ireland, so there's nothing also listed for, like, work.
Okay.
He lived between 300 and 400. I think he was estimated, like, born 390, and I saw two sources that said 460 or 461 for his death date.
Those are just wild years to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Just four, like, 3 digits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wild to think about. Absolutely crazy. And we're in 2000s.
yeah.
We're in the single digits, well, I mean, like, 25, like, 2 digits, but in the two, anyways.
Yeah.
So by the 7th century, which would be like the 600s, he was known pretty much all over. So it was real quick. March 17th was also supposed to be the date that he died.
Okay.
So that's why March 17th is important to represent St. Patrick's.
Gotcha.
St. Patrick.
Yeah.
The way he started to convert pagans to Christianity is to almost merge their ways with Christianity. I wrote down 2 examples.
Okay.
Because I thought these were very interesting. One, on Easter, he would always have huge bonfires because that's how they honored their gods.
Okay.
So in order for them to understand, like, Easter is a very prominent holiday, in Catholic religion that's bigger than, like, Christmas. Fire, here, big, party, God.
Gotcha.
So, like, kind of, like, merging the two together.
Okay.
Another super fun thing that I found. You know the Celtic cross?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like the cross, and then it's kind of got the circle in the middle, and it's like...
Yeah.
He's credited for creating that.
Oh.
And what he did is pagans worshipped fire and sun and things like that, the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And he merged, because they had a lot of pictures of the sun with the cross. And that's how they made the Celtic cross. And I thought that was a super interesting fun fact.
That is really fun.
Yeah, I didn't know where that came from.
Yeah.
But now I do. See, the more you know. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit more about him in a bit. But now we're going to move on kind of to part 2, which is just St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
I just want to make sure this thing's still recording because of last time. There's other names that it goes by, like St. Patty's Day, DD. Mm-hmm. The Feast of St. Patrick. With St. Patrick's Day, there's feasts, parades, shamrocks, drunks, and all this. And I'm kind of going to go over all this.
Okay.
Historically, first thing I'm going to talk about is why do people drink on St. Patrick's Day? Why is it known as a drunk holiday?
Yeah.
There's actually a historical reason, and I think this is really fun. Okay. So historically, March 17th fell in Lent.
Mm-hmm.
You know Lent?
Yeah.
So Fat Tuesday or Punchki Day, whatever, just happened last week,
Yeah.
this week, all the way to Easter. It's where you give up, nowadays it's known as like you give up something for Lent, something that I've had family members give up chocolate, give up whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was a fasting, like all over, so food and alcoholic drinks. So
right.
You could have liquids and then eat at night, but all fasting, and it was to the 40 days and nights that somebody went without eating. I forgot. I didn't write that down. But it's supposed to represent that.
Yeah.
Anyways, so before it was, couldn't have any alcohol, couldn't eat during the day. However, on St. Patrick's Day, because of St. Patrick, that was lifted, and that falls between those days. So everybody would get their drinks in on that day because they had to give it up for Lent, and then they'd have to go back to being sober. So that's like, and I thought that was super interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, me neither.
They're like, now's the time. We all got to party.
We got to drink.
We got to
stay. Yeah. Then we got to go back to, fasting until Easter. Yeah, crazy.
Wild.
Super fun. I love that.
Yeah.
I gotta remember that. St. Patrick's Day is also a lot more common among diaspora. Do you know what diaspora?
I do not.
I love that word. Diaspora, if I'm saying it wrong, I'm so sorry. Diaspora are people who leave their country that still like somebody that's here that's Irish.
Okay.
So descendants that have moved away from Ireland.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
Not necessarily. Let me shut up. Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah. Descendants that have moved away from Ireland. It's more popular with them than the people in Ireland.
Okay.
Which I think is very fun.
Yeah.
So another big thing that St. Patrick's Day is known for is the parades. Mm-hmm. Right? Like there's always a St. Patrick's Day parade.
Right.
That's actually started in America. It was not started in Ireland. In the 18th century.
Seems very America.
Yeah.
Gotta capitalize on a holiday kind of thing.
Yeah. The first time it happened, I think it was in like the 1700s, because it's 18th century, so 1700s.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of Irish guys marched from their work to the bar on St. Patrick's Day, and then it became a parade.
Imagine that they were just walking.
Yeah.
And then they were like,
marching.
Parade.
Parade? Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's my candy? Dude, I haven't said that in forever. And I feel like that's something I need to incorporate more in my daily life. Dude, roar!
We don't need to bring Shrek into this. We've got enough going off the rails.
There's only one of us that's stoned as well. No, well, Shrek is green.
He is, right.
Would you be an Irish alien pirate? I feel like Shrek would be the closest thing to an Irish alien pirate. Because one, his accent, right? He's Irish. Michael Myers is Irish. Mike Myers. Yeah. Right? Am I right or am I making this shit up? Am I wrong? I need to fact check myself. Where's my phone? Is Shrek Irish? Is Shrek Irish?
He just wanted his swamp. He didn't want to take anything like the pirates.
Mike Myers is Scottish. To be fair.
Shrek is not the closest thing
He's
to
not the
an
closest
Irish alien.
Sorry.
That
And I
just
feel
kind of
like-
made my brain hurt a little bit.
I mean, am I wrong? I mean, yes, I am very wrong.
Yeah. On
You're
this
gonna look at me
one-
and tell me that I'm wrong?
Yes, on this one I absolutely am.
I want to see Shrek as like a leprechaun size. Okay, we're getting real close.
Yeah.
Leprechaun
He's
size.
really like the absolute opposite of a leprechaun pirate.
But I feel like leprechauns and pirates kind of like he was abducted and captured by leprechauns. You could mistake a leprechaun for a pirate easy. Easy. Look at him.
Jack Sparrow, leprechaun or pirate? Let's go.
Yeah.
Spot the difference. You can't.
I don't know. The leprechaun from the movie. Pirate or leprechaun? Spot the difference. You can't. I'm gonna start posting those. Like, you know, like in fucking baby showers. I'm not gonna go on this tangent.
Well, like little Captain Hook, he's got Tinkerbell, green,
Fairy.
tiny.
Mm-hmm. Pirate and leprechaun.
It all. I don't think this is coming together as much as we think it is right now.
Maybe.
Anyone listening to this is just like, okay.
They're besties. Okay, let me go on. Anyways. Okay, Ireland.
So
Great.
wait, so is the St. So is St. Patrick's Day in America just like, was it like a way for them to feel like closer to roots and heritage in Ireland, or was it just like...
So it always was a thing, it just has slowly gotten bigger.
Gotcha.
What's funny is the diaspora, I keep wanting to say the thing, it's not necessarily ones that just come to America. Mm-hmm. So even like Irish descendants that are in like, they even mentioned, like, South Africa has a big
Gotcha. Okay.
Irish community.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
Like, so, all
Okay.
of them. But it's just kind of grown.
So it's
throughout the
not
years.
just the capitalism thing.
Right.
Okay.
I mean,
to some extent.
I will get into a little capitalism here in, like,
Okay.
literally about 10 seconds.
Okay.
Fun little fact. In Ireland, March 1st to March 17th is Irish Language Week. And I'm going to try and say this. I did not look up the pronunciation, so please don't yell at me.
I appreciate you just going in blind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
I shouldn't have gone in blind.
I'm just imagining listening to what you're about to say, but it's Shrek's voice. Okay. We have tracks. We can get on them.
Do the roar. At least this is a bonus episode, so it doesn't matter. There's no tracks.
There's no tracks.
They didn't
The
exist.
pirates stole them.
The pirates ran with the leprechauns and brought it to the spaceship. They had to probe them.
What the hell are you saying? Earlier. Your pirate accent.
Oh my god.
This is like Bonnie laughs or something.
Oh, what? What?
I don't know what's happening. Let's just get all the giggles out and do the rest of this episode the most straight face, like NPR we could possibly get.
No way. Because I still haven't tried to pronounce this yet.
Do we need to do like a quick Google Translate moment? Or like a little read
Yes,
this back to me?
I'm going to, because it's talking about March 1st through 17th is Irish Language Week. So I really don't want to fuck it up.
Seekton na Gaelga.
I don't know what that just said.
Seekton na Gaelga.
Not what I was going to say.
Seekton.
Na Gaela. Gaela?
Seekton na Gaelga.
Guelga.
Gaelga.
Seekton na Guelga.
Na Gaelga. Okay. All right. So...
Say that in a pirate accent.
I don't know what's happening. Hashtag free Luigi. It's great. We're doing
Free Luigi, St. Patrick, let's go.
Let's go. St. Patrick's Day, free Luigi. That's it. That's the goal. March 17th. That's 11 days away.
Get us to 100,000 followers by March 17th, which is the day before this episode even airs. We will free Luigi.
Well, free Luigi.
You guys didn't know you had a goal.
Yeah. You failed, by the
Yeah.
way. Because this is the future. Were we time traveling? Yes.
Time traveling to 4 BC to see how the hell
400 BC.
these pirates took this kid.
He was sold.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with. So today, large landmarks all over the world are lit up green. So, like, I've always seen them, but I didn't know it was part of something.
Mm-hmm.
It is, actually. There was a tour. There's this thing called Tourism Ireland, which, like, tries to promote people coming to Ireland to tour,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And they had a marketing thing that was Global Greening Initiative, and to light up green, get green lights for St. Patrick's Day. Another fun fact. I've started putting a little FF and a little circle around those, by the way. To go green for St. Patrick's Day was the Sydney Opera House and the Sky Tower in Auckland, New Zealand.
Oh, that is fun.
Yep. And now, Over 300 landmarks in 50 countries light up green for this. So a little bit of capitalism, but at the same time, I think it's cute.
Yeah.
I'll take it. It's
Yeah.
fine.
It's nice.
I've seen worse.
Right.
For the shamrock theory, one story that I really like is there's this thing called drowning or wetting the shamrock. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
So at the end of the day of St. Patrick's Day, after being drunk and drinking all day, historically, there was a shamrock placed at the bottom of your cup. And it was filled with either cider, whiskey, or beer. And you were supposed to toast either to St. Patrick or Ireland or whoever was there, clink, and chug. You either swallow the shamrock, or if you get it, you throw it over your shoulder, and that's supposed to give you good luck for the next year.
I like that.
I know, I think that's really cute.
Yeah.
I wouldn't swallow it.
No.
Not today.
Well, I mean...
Pepsi's gotten crazy. Pesticides have gotten crazy.
I mean, but they're already going to be in the drink, though, since they're hanging out with it,
Oh, yeah.
wetting it down.
Yeah.
So at that point, like, swallow the luck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd swallow luck. Yeah, I would. I can't. I'm disgusting, I'm sorry. Anyways,
Shamrock or swallow?
That's gonna be like the new... I gotta stop right there. Okay. Okay, shamrocks were also important because supposedly St. Patrick would use them to symbolize the Holy Trinity. The Father, Son, the Holy Ghost,
Makes
but it's all
sense.
part
Yeah.
of one thing. So whenever he's depicted with a shamrock. However, that is unverified, by the way, the Holy Trinity thing. But that's what they said. But he's
Gotcha.
also, his whole existence is unverified, so
Right.
we have no idea what's going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Part of the reason for the color green, one, because of like how green Ireland is naturally. Like if you go outside, like there's just a lot of shamrocks, like they're green, whatever. Another thing is Godil Glass, or Godil the Green, was somebody that was bitten by a venomous snake. He's a historian guy.
Okay.
This is a story. I don't believe this actually happened. But was bitten by a venomous snake. And he was saved by Moses, leaving him with a glowing green scar. Supposedly, his descendants are the ones that moved and settled in Ireland, the land with no snakes.
Okay.
So it all kind of comes together.
Gotcha. It all comes together.
Yeah.
I do love when stuff like that, like, not knocking religion, believe
Right.
what you believe,
Right.
but, like, I do love when stuff like that is, like, you think about it and you're like, they just didn't know that he had a scar.
Yeah.
And, like, medicine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, religion, it does, like, give you a lot of hope.
Right.
Like, to think about that, and it's, like, a weird coincidence, like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And, like, the thing, too, like, that I thought was really funny is, like, the land with no snakes.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some fun facts about that later, too, because it also has to do with St. Patrick, and, like, there's a whole... Okay.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're coming back to snakes. In 1640, another significance to green, it was used to represent the Irish Catholic Confederation. And it was on a green harp flag. Now, if you look at the flag, there's the orange, green, and white.
Yeah.
Do you know what the orange stands for?
No.
The Protestants in
Okay.
Ireland. And then the white is this, because they're separated, because, you know,
Yeah.
they don't like each other. But by 1680, wearing green and shamrocks became kind of customary in Ireland. The reason it's green, not orange, is because it is a Catholic tradition, not
Yeah.
necessarily a Protestant one. If it's fun fact, I need a button or a noise
Yeah.
for that. If it falls within Holy Week, which is the week of Easter,
Uh-huh.
they usually will change the date of recognition.
Oh.
I thought that was very funny.
I didn't know that.
And it happened in 1940, and it was moved to April 3rd. And then it happened in 2008, and it was moved to March 15th.
Oh,
Interesting.
interesting.
I'm going to throw a little shade. Here's my shade throwing.
Okay.
LGBT groups were not allowed to participate in any of the parades until 2015. However, they are still rarely included in their event.
Mm.
Okay, so we just need to have that moment of silence
Yeah.
for everybody to think what they need to think.
Mm-hmm.
In 2021, over $5.14 billion was spent on celebrations for St. Patrick's
That
Day.
is so much money.
Why? We don't have it. Like, well,
I wonder, like, now I kind of want to, like, know what all the holidays, like, what their breakdown is financially.
Yeah.
Because that's just really interesting.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll bet you.
Like, aside from Christmas and stuff, because those are huge.
Yeah, I was about to say, I would say of like the smaller holidays,
Mhm.
I would say St. Patrick's Day or 4th of July would probably be the two biggest.
4th of July is a big one.
Yeah, because like with specifically for celebrations.
Right.
So
Right.
I think the Easter I almost feel like would be lower than them.
Yeah, I would agree
Yeah.
with you.
But
Valentine's Day is
Mm-mm.
kind of,
Earth Day, nobody gives a shit.
no.
They
Like, Memorial Day and stuff.
do
no one
parades, but
really...
it's not huge.
Right.
Halloween maybe?
I don't know.
If you consider a haunted house a celebration, I think that would be the big game changer.
Yeah, I don't think I would.
I wouldn't either.
Right.
Because it's not like celebrating the day of.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
But. So anyways, now we're on part 3. Snakes and leprechauns. Oh my. I literally left a blank so I could put like snakes and leprechauns and oh my, but I couldn't think of a third one. So.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do leprechauns first because it's very disappointing.
Mm.
So I looked up the lore of leprechauns. In almost every article I read, it's kind of the same story. Usually male. There are a few females. They're usually not very pretty looking. Very ugly, kind of short. Sometimes they're working on shoes. They're like shoe people.
Mm.
What are they? Shoe fitters?
Shoemakers?
Shoemaker. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the word. Shoemakers, or like they help around the home. Little things like that. Nothing too big. They're a little bit abrasive, but usually will help you, and they're usually guarding some type of treasure. In almost every article I read, they said they don't understand why leprechauns, of the different mythical creatures or folklore from Ireland, that's the one that made it big.
Okay.
Like it was so funny.
It's
It's
just
like
kind of like,
there's fairies, there's goblins, there's all these other
Yeah.
interesting ones that have like a bigger root, and leprechauns just
so they're just kind of like there by association.
Yeah.
Not even like
yeah.
really deep ties to it.
A lot of the articles I was reading said that it almost kind of merged the goblins and the fairies. So there's really not even like a lot of the stuff, which was making me really frustrated. There's not that point where it started.
Right.
It just kind of somewhere in here is where it began, but we're not exactly sure.
Yeah, there's
where.
no like definitive timeline
Yeah.
on anything.
And so it's kind of, I thought that was very interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, because like I think leprechauns are cool, but like yeah, that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, fairies are much more interesting than leprechaun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take his gold, but
Right.
either way. Now, snakes.
So, like, I would just
Okay.
want to know then, is there, like, a significance to the gold then for St. Patrick's? Like, that, is that a reason why they were, like, tying it in, like, luck and, like, money or something?
No,
Like,
I don't think so. Not
I
that
don't know.
found.
Like, lucky
No.
coin? I don't know.
Yeah. And it was like, I know that, like, authors started to write about leprechauns. That was, like, the first big thing, folklore-ish, that they started writing about
Okay.
from Ireland. And that just kind of took off.
Okay.
But then they're like, but we've got so much other cool shit.
Yeah.
Like,
so it was
why
just,
that
like,
one? Yeah.
right time, right place.
Yeah.
Leprechaun's got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that makes me... That was a bummer of, like, an origin story.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I want to do, like, a whole episode on, like, leprechauns. That would be cool, but, like...
Yeah.
Okay. It's not like they were transformed into a leprechaun. It's not like they grant you 3 wishes. In some stories, they're mean and bad, but,
Yeah.
like... Whatever. Anyways. So now we're going to talk about the snakes. Do you know of the story of him ridding... Okay. St. Patrick ridding Ireland of its snakes.
That is the only thing I know about that guy.
Okay. So, at some point, before, I believe, like about 1500, so he lived in 400, that's 400, sometime before 1500, long time, a myth about St. Patrick started, that when he returned to Ireland, he was attacked by snakes, venomous snakes, and he used his staff that he's pictured with, almost like a drum, to scare them away to leave Ireland and scare them into the sea. Ireland. I have a star next to this because I'm going to come back to this. Quote, quote, Ireland is now free of snakes, and the lore goes that if a snake touches the soil of Ireland, it will immediately die.
That's a fun story.
Yeah, it's a very fun story.
Yeah,
because-
not for snakes.
Not for snakes.
Snakes, watch out.
Yeah, snakes,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go off on a little side tangent because I just want to talk about how nuts my dad is. I am not Irish.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to clarify that. Unless there's something I don't know, not Irish. Every year on St. Patrick's Day when I was a kid, my dad had at least 20 to 30 rubber snakes, fake snakes. And when we would get home from school, he would hide them around the house. And we would have to take them and find them. Almost like,
Like a little egg hunt, kind
Easter
of.
egg hunt, yeah. And throw them outside to throw the snakes out.
That is kind of fun and cute.
Yeah, it's kind of fun and cute. My mom was I am also scared of snakes. My
Mm-hmm.
mom was terrified of snakes. So when this happened, she would hide in the bathroom the whole time.
Aw. So not as fun as
Yeah.
cute.
But it's like my sister still does it with her
Yeah.
kids, and it's just like a fun little. I don't know any other family that does it. I don't think it's any type of tradition, but it's just something that my dad started, and now it's like our weird.
I do
tradition.
still like that though.
Yeah, it's cute. When you leave, if you look in the tree, there's actually at least one or two of them from like a few years ago that
Oh, really?
he like left. And then he's like, you know what? I think it's like good art. I'm just gonna leave it. And they've been there for years. And he's like,
Amazing.
let's leave
That's
it.
crazy that they've like stood to the weather and everything.
I mean, they don't look great, but like
They're still there.
Yeah, they're still there.
Yeah.
They're still kind of hanging. So we're weird. First issue here. There has never been any snakes that we as a species have found in Ireland.
Not ever?
Not ever. Which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of an island. The natural habitat there is not great. There's 3 different species. I didn't write down what they were, but 3 different ones that are in Britain, but none of them made it to Ireland. Like, naturally from Ireland.
Yeah. That's interesting.
It gets more interesting. So up until doing this research, I also believed this. So this, I think, is very interesting, and I really like it, and I like to give credit where credit's due.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. Religion sometimes gives me a little bit of... I push back a little bit. And it gives me a little nervousness, especially Catholic, because I grew up Catholic.
Right.
This is good. This is good on the red.
Okay.
And usually I'm not saying this, but okay. For a long time, a lot of people believed that him throwing the snakes out was him ridding the country of pagan people.
Mm.
I can see where they came from.
Right.
See where that comes from.
Yeah.
And I believed that for a long time. And they actually, in a lot of these sites, they threw around the word genocide. And I don't really like that word right now.
Uh-huh.
Especially in, like, maybe I'm being ignorant, and I might have to Google this. So if I'm being ignorant, please don't come for me. But I feel like in 400, there wasn't that many people on the planet.
I mean,
No.
compared to now, I don't know.
I don't want to say that if I'm not right. Hold on. How many people on the planet in 400 BCE?
Cut this a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
162 million. And we're in the billions now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm kind of right in there. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't fucking matter. There was a strong pagan influence before and after.
Okay. Yeah.
Him.
So, yeah.
So there was also a very common lore or story that he went there and burned the books of the pagans and them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people believe that. However, can't be true. Merely because at that time, druids and pagans didn't use books or have them. Didn't use them, didn't have them. So, it, like, logically, just couldn't be true.
Right.
Actually, what it was found, historically, what history and historians have found, so far, history can change because we
Right.
find out more information, is that more of a conversion or emergence between Catholicism and paganism, like the cross, with the sun around it,
Yeah.
as opposed to one or the other.
Gotcha.
Or, as they also worded it, almost like a slow changeover, but more of like emergence.
Okay. Makes sense.
Technically, Ireland is no longer snake-free. They are allowed as pets, one, which I thought was interesting.
In my head, I just saw like one little guy like slithering across, and
Right.
it's like, I did it!
I did it!
Yeah.
I did it! I did it! I made it here!
Yeah.
I'm an Irish snake! You're welcome! But in the 1990s, as like a form of rebellion, a lot of people from Ireland got snakes.
I
As,
didn't
like,
even think of it being a pet.
Yeah.
Like, that's fun, But also, like, I wish it was just, like, one guy that slithered.
I know, right? Well, hold on. I'm not done yet. So in the 1990s, a lot of them got snakes as pets as, like a revolution, like, revolution.
Yeah.
Like, rebel, whatever. However, in the crash of 2008, a lot of them were set free. Not all of them were caught. Not all of them were found.
Oh,
So now there are snakes
hanging out.
hanging out in the wild in Ireland.
It's so wild, too, to think that, like, they didn't have snakes before, and now because of that moment, like, the whole, like, their little country and everything has changed.
Yeah.
Like...
Which places, there's other places like Hawaii and other ones that, like, don't allow snakes into their country.
Interesting.
But I wanted to say Hawaii doesn't have snakes, but I don't think that's real. I think that's a fake statement.
Yeah, that sounds...
That's not real.
Yeah.
I would see a snake in Hawaii.
Yeah.
But I do also know another weird fun fact. There's why the fuck I know this? There's no mosquitoes in Iceland. And there was one mosquito that made it, and it was on an airplane. And, like, once the airplane landed, they wouldn't open the door until somebody killed the mosquito.
That's so interesting.
I know. That's, like, a fun little fact.
I didn't know that I could just, like, be mosquito-free if I moved to Iceland.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No mosquitoes.
That's so fun.
I know.
It's very, like, the thing that comes to my mind is, like, the birds of, like, bringing one, you know, the Alfred Hitchcock movie?
Oh, my God!
Yeah.
I'm like, the birds, I'm like, dodos?
No! Like,
Yeah.
bringing one guy that ain't supposed to be there changes everything. And,
Yeah.
like, how does that impact everything?
Yeah. Well, even, like, in 2008, and even now, there are snakes that, like, were set free here.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was somewhere in the Middle East. Couldn't tell you where, but they were having a problem with snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of this one?
No.
This is kind of recent. They were having a problem with snakes, and they put out, like, a bounty for every dead snake carcass that you bring us. We'll give you, like, $100, whatever. So these people started a snake farm and would just start bringing them dead snakes all the time and just collecting money. Smart as shit.
Amazing. Yeah.
Like,
really smart.
I ain't judging you for that shit.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. If I would have thought of that, I would have.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't touch a snake.
No.
Not if I wanted to. Nor thank you.
Hey!
I knew it was going to come back. I don't know which one is this one. I like, which one is it? I came back.
Yeah.
But,
That was good.
But yeah, so that was my episode on St. Patrick's Day.
That was so interesting.
Yeah.
I learned so much.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
there was just a lot of fun facts. I feel like it was very, like, there's not a lot of lore, not a lot of cryptids, not a lot of shit in there,
Yeah.
but it's very fun facty.
Yeah. It's not as, like, intense, I think, as I expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it is really, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, weird fun facts, but, like, the origins and, like, it's, like, I feel like with Christmas, there's, you could go on for episodes and episodes and episodes about the origins of Christmas, even Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of feel like St. Patrick's Day is, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And he's not Irish, which is so funny to me.
Good to know.
Yeah. He's Italian.
Interesting.
Well, Romano-British. Which I
Hashtag
think-
free Luigi.
Hashtag free Luigi. I bought a Luigi hat. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, that's fun.
I know. Makes me really happy. And that's green. I'll wear it on St. Patrick's Day, which was yesterday for you people.
Yeah.
11 days for us, because we're from the past,
Yeah.
and you're in the future.
It's kind of breaking my brain a little bit.
I know.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? I love it.
Spooky.
Anyways, it's time for the... McFlurry and Reefer review. So what'd you think of the Oreo McFlurry?
Okay, so I know we were talking about it, about how we both do the, like, maybe this will be the year that we like Shamrock Shakes.
Yeah, we get whenever. So just so everyone else knows, we actually do the same thing every year. We go get, and we don't do this on purpose.
Yeah.
Not like
Not a
because
planned thing.
yeah, it's not a planned
Yeah.
thing. But every year we each go get one, and we're like, it's kind of like our St. Patrick's Day tradition. This year I'm gonna like it, and every year I take a big sip, and I'm like, Nope, it's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really the worst, but it's not a thing that I'm like, I have to have it.
No.
Like, I don't understand it.
Mm-mm. I wouldn't buy it if it wasn't because it's green.
Right. But you got the little Oreo McFlurry version.
Yeah.
Which I did like.
Yeah, I
It was
actually
good.
liked it. Yeah.
But I still don't think it was really mint.
Yeah,
It
it's
had, like,
supposed
a-
to be vanilla mint.
Yeah, but it had like a limey thing.
Yeah.
And the green, I don't know if it just like the green was all on top or what
Yeah.
was going on with the color there, but
Yeah, but it kind of tasted kind of like mint chip ice cream. I don't want to say chocolate chip, but mint
yeah,
chip.
but like with a fruity note to it.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it. I still
No.
don't get it. I liked it better.
Mm-hmm.
I might get this on St. Patrick's Day instead.
Yeah, I'll probably
But,
get
like,
this. Like if they keep this, I'll get this.
Yeah, but I just,
Yeah.
uh, mid.
Could live without it.
Yeah.
But it's it's my tradition. Everybody else gets drunk. I go get my Shamrock.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
And then throw it away.
Yeah.
Like after 2 sips. But I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 spoons.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like a 2 out of 3 clover leaves.
Ooh, I like that better.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 clover leaves.
Which is kind of a high rating, but it's only
Yeah.
out of 3. So what
Yeah.
are you gonna do?
Yeah, right. You're like,
Yeah.
it's only out of 3. So what can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like clover leaves. I like that better.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-leaf clover instead of a 3-leaf clover.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should be out of 4.
Could be out of 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 still works.
2 still works.
Either
yeah.
way you go with it.
Yeah.
Whatever clover you pick that.
Yeah.
day.
It's only got 2 leaves, not 4.
Do you ever pick clovers on St. Patrick's Day? Like one to see if you can.
I pick clovers like year round.
Okay.
Whenever I see a clover patch, I will go and at least
I feel
just
like
go.
I haven't seen a clover patch in a while. Actually, now that I think about it.
Oh yeah, anytime I see a clover patch, like if I'm outside walking or something, I will bend down and just grab 1 or 2 and just take a look. And if I don't get them, cool. If not, I keep walking.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's fun.
And then sometimes, if I'm having a really bad day, this is gonna make me nuts. So you know clover, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes if I'm having a really, really, really bad day, this is my mental crazy. Okay, so everybody knows. I'll pick a clover and it'll be a 3-leaf clover, and I'll tear one of them in half right
Oh
down the
yeah,
line,
yeah.
and then I'll have a 4-leaf clover, and I just think I make my own luck
I
every
like
time.
that. That's
Mhm.
actually really
Yeah.
nice.
So it's kind of my like pep talk to myself.
That's so cute.
Thanks.
Very sweet.
I'm an idiot. Anyways, weed. Purple Monarch, Tony's, Scrubbery. I'm also gonna give this a 3.5 out of 5 puffs. One, I just don't think the flavor was there. Which, to be fair, I don't smoke weed for the flavor. I smoke weed for the buzz. But maybe the episode will differ, but we were both laughing uncontrollably, so it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
But I just didn't really feel like much happened. So I'm going to give that a 3.5 out of 5 puffs. But still remember, it's only puff of pass.
I like the dramatic pause.
Thank you. I try to be really dramatic.
Yeah.
Any other news we need to talk about?
I don't think so.
You can find us on Instagram. So we'll have 2 in a row. The 11th, 18th, and then I'm going to wait 2 weeks after that.
Fair.
And then start doing it then. Just because editing is fun. It's a great time. Great time. But check out our social medias.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and be a little bit more on those. Email us if you want. stirthepot.dv@gmail.com. Recommendations. Would love to do some.
Yeah.
Have a scary story. Let us know. Have a would you rather question.
Ooh.
Shoot,
That's fun.
Shoot us a would you rather. I would love to do a would you rather.
We should do like a post on Instagram that's like
Mhm.
any would you rathers for the podcast.
Oh my gosh, I will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
After like the first episode post
Yeah.
so that people know we're back.
Yeah. That sounds...
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Any would you rather questions? Preferably no crazy shit. But at the same time, we are crazy shit.
Yeah.
So like... I stand corrected.
Yeah.
And... Yeah, I'm just happy to be back.
Yeah, this is so fun.
I know. I have a good time doing this.
Yeah.
Clearly, as the laughing... I will edit a lot of that out, but
Yeah.
clearly from the laughing, we were laughing uncontrollably.
Yeah.
About the... I'm not going to talk about the pirates. Anyway.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to Stir the Pot.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Remember to stay lucky and stay dangerous.
And stay away from pirates. Don't get kidnapped.
That's the real message.
That's the real message here.
Bye.